Good evening. Welcome to the in-person and virtual meeting of the Planning and Development Advisory Committee meeting for February the 11th, 2025. There are two meetings tonight, one being the Committee of Adjustment and the second being the Advisory Committee. There will be 4 minor variance applications for consideration by the Committee of Adjustment. And there will be one zoning bylaw amendment for the advisory committee to provide comments for council when the item is being discussed at council. Please note that the meeting is video and audio recorded, and all electronic meetings are uploaded to the municipality's YouTube page. By registering to participate in the meeting by electronic means, you're consenting to have your likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. So do roll call now. Kim McCarthy.
Here.
Amanda Knight.
Present.
Chris Picard. Here. Paul Sedra. Present. And I, Councilor Johnson Poulos, I'm present as well. So we'll go. I'd like to also point out to my right is our Secretary Treasurer Lynn Banks, and to her right is our Township Pride and Wheels Walla. So let's go into item 3, which is the moment of reflection. Okay, thank you. Okay, Lynn, confirmation agenda, and I understand you're going to ask that we move up one item.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
So please go ahead.
That the committee approves the February 11th, 2025 agenda is circulated, and that the committee approves the addition to the agenda as follows. Consent item 6.2, questions received from the committee members seeking additional information, and the corresponding responses provided by staff regarding the February 11th, 2025 Committee of Adjustment agenda.
And also the moving up the minor variance.
Yeah, that minor variance application D13 SCH, Nadine Schramm, be moved up to the beginning of the meeting.
Okay, I have a mover and second. Move Chris, second by Kim. All in favor? Okay, so I'll go through the process for the disclosure of conflict of interest. Do we have any? No. Okay, so application for minor variance or permission under section 45 of the Planning Act to be heard by the committee of the state. Before we get into the details, I'd like to have somebody move and second the meeting minutes from October 8, 2024, Committee of Adjustment. Mover, Amanda, second. Paul, all in favor? Okay, thank you. So we'll move into the hearing part of the meeting. The purpose of these hearings is to inform and provide the public the opportunity to ask questions or express views with respect to a minor variance application before us today. Township requests you please notify the secretary of the committee by email at lbanks@postage.ca. If you wish to be on record, would like to be notified of future hearings or decisions regarding a specific application. As well, we have a sign-in sheet if you wish to sign in as well. The format of each hearing will be, I will read the application to be heard and ask staff to display the relevant information. Staff will then present the information report, specifically outline the purpose of the application, summarizing compliance with the township notification and submission requirements, and outlining staff comments. The applicant will present the purpose and details of the application and any further relevant information. Following this, the public can obtain clarification, ask questions, and express his views on the proposal. You'll have a maximum of 10 minutes to speak. Following this, the members of the committee can likewise obtain clarification, ask questions of the applicant. And if a member wishes to ask a condition, I'll ask for a vote on the condition. Then the item will be taken into the committee to render a decision. The decision will be subject to a 20-day appeal period. So we're going to move into the first one, which is minor application D13 SCH Schramm Nadine 19 Water Road TV Township of Puslinch. And the staff report recommends that we defer this application. So for the committee's comments, we can either carry on or we can agree with staff and defer the application. So I'll ask for comments going around the table. Kim?
I agree to defer.
Okay. Amanda?
Just a question, the deferral is based on the fact that a survey wasn't received with the application. Was the applicant aware that a survey was required?
Okay, let's ask Andrew, are you in the audience?
Yep, I can hear you.
The audience. So Andrew, can you answer the question, please?
To repeat the question, it was just, was the survey required?
Yeah, was the applicant aware that a survey was required as part of the application?
Like as part of the, I had a discussion with the applicant prior, saying that the survey, well, I guess the short answer is no, they wouldn't know prior to the application. But I had put in my comments as part of the conditions if we were to approve this from the committee's perspective.
If staff are saying it's a requirement to be able to completely review this application, then I'm on board with a deferral as well.
Okay, Chris?
I'm not opposed to deferral, but I am concerned about having zero setback. It creates issues for maintenance on that wall facing the neighbors. The eaves can't hang over, which I know the chief building official caught in his comments. It's something I would need to think about before I would ever get to an acceptance, but a deferral works for me, and the applicant may wish to reconsider the zero setback regardless.
Okay. Paul?
I agree with the deferral.
Okay, so let's defer the application. So Lynn, we'll go through a formal process here.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. That report D13-2025-004 entitled Minor Variance Application D13/SCHB received. And whereas the minor variance requested would provide relief from section 14, site-specific number 86 of Township Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 2018-23 as amended, requesting to allow the interior side yard for accessory building to be 0 meters instead of 0.6 meters as required. And whereas the variance requested would provide relief from section 4.4.2.CIII of the zoning bylaw request to allow the accessory building to be located 0.93 meters from the principal building instead of a minimum of 1 meter as required. And whereas the minor variance application would maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw and is desirable and appropriate for the development of the subject property. And whereas staff are not satisfied with the information provided with respect to the location of the building in relation to the property line and require additional information from the applicant. Therefore, the planning staff recommends deferral of the application until the following item is provided. And that item is that the owner provides a survey prepared by an Ontario land surveyor confirming the final location of the shed.
Okay, have a mover. Chris, second. Kim, all in favor? Great, thank you. So we're moving on to the next item. Next item is minor variance application D13 Hamley Chuck 4576 Victoria Road South, Township of Footswitch. In the matter of section 45 Planning Act as amended and new comprehensive zoning bylaw 2023-2018 as amended, and application for a minor variance requesting relief to permit a reduced interior yard setback of 1.08 meters instead of 3 meters to convert existing garage into additional residential unit. Okay, then would you please summarize the application, notification, submission requirements, outline staff and agency comments, recommendations. Before you start, Michael, would you please put the appropriate drawing for that on?
Certainly.
Can you blow it up a bit? Okay, then.
Notification requirements for this minor variance application have been met. Following comments were received. The Township's Roads Department, Fire and Bylaw had no comments. Source Water stated that since this property is located in a vulnerable area, wellhead protection area, issues contributing area, intake protection zone, etc., that the activities as indicated would not create a significant drinking water threat. The application can be screened out and does not require section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act. But they did want to note that they may provide comments on any future applications subject to this property given the vulnerable areas. The Township's Building Department said that the minor variance requesting a reduction of the side yard setback of 1.16 meters. The actual distance should be confirmed by a surveyor. If the distance is confirmed to be less than 1.2 meters, the existing wall closest to the property line must be fire rated and no openings will be permitted unless protected by an approved closure. They also noted that the building department has received applications for this project, including the associated septic system, and further comments will be made under those permit applications. The GRCA has advised that they have no objection to the proposed minor variance application. The information currently available at the office indicates that the subject property contains wetlands and regulated allowance adjacent to the wetlands, and due to the presence of the features noted above, portions of the property are regulated by the GRCA under Ontario Reg 41-24, and any future development or other alteration within the regulated area will require prior written approval from the GRCA in the form of a permit. It is understood that the minor variance application requests a reduced side yard setback to facilitate the conversation with the conversion of an accessory structure to an additional dwelling unit, and the GRCA staff have reviewed circulated plans and the proposed septic system design provided by the applicant, and further noted that the proposed dwelling unit and septic system are outside of the natural hazard features and regulated allowance. As such, the GRCA has no objection to the approval of this application. And the County of Wellington stated that the subject lands are designated second agriculture core greenlands and greenlands within the County of Wellington official plan. They're also located within the Periscott Marine Policy Area, and identifying features include significant wetlands, significant ecological area, environmentally sensitive area, and Grand River Conservation Authority wetlands. County staff note that the proposed variance is to facilitate the conversion of an existing attached garage into an ARU. It is understood the proposal is to use an existing slab on grade and minor floor shed structure. And they noted that the county official plan provides policy direction with these dwellings are to be subordinate in scale and function to the main residence, and that the township will need to be satisfied that the proposal maintains the intent of the county official plan, and the unit is secondary and subordinate to the primary residence. It is further noted that an additional residential unit cannot be severed from the subject lands. It's also noted that the existing structure is partially located within the Greenland system, including significant woodlands and ESA. And further noted that section 5 of the official plan protects both features from development or site alterations which would negatively impact them or their ecological functions. And the township will need to be satisfied that the official plan policies regarding the Greenland system are met, and the township is encouraged to consider tree protection to ensure there is no negative impact on features or their ecological functions resulting from the proposed development. And further, due to the presence of PSWs, wetlands, and significant ecological area, the township should consider any comments from the Grand River Conservation Authority. I also have a comment received from within the 60-meter circulation.
Yes, go ahead.
This is from Aubrey Meadows Limited. It said, in reviewing the submitted application by our neighbor Jennifer Hambley, let it be known that we have no problem with the request to allow a reduced side yard setback of 1.08 meters instead of 3 meters to convert her garage into an additional residential unit as required.
Great, thank you. Okay, so would the applicant please come forward and join the panelists and present the application, and please state your name and address for the record. Have a seat.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Meredith Haslam at 376 Mulpey Road, East Guelph.
Okay, go ahead.
The client has retained me to apply for this variance on his behalf, more of a consultant to help him through the process as he's not so familiar. He would like to take the existing shed on the property that I've been informed has been in existence since 1971 and convert this space for additional dwelling unit for his son.
Okay, can you speak a little bit to the variance and
We would alter the drawings currently to meet the setback for the openings on that window. I know that was a concern for the building department, so we will alter the drawings to suit on this setback, and we've had Ben Hart Surveying out to recite the plan, which you're looking at here.
Okay, so that's the actual survey part there. Okay, so, we'll turn it over to, the public now. Lynn, are there any registrants who request to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, I did not receive any.
Okay, and, are there any, you mentioned the written comments, and, maybe would you please canvass the audience to see if there's any, attendee watching who would like to provide comments or ask questions regarding the application?
Certainly. Any attendee watching online who wants to speak to the matter, they can use the raise hand function bottom of your screen if you wish to speak to this case. I see none, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let's start over to committee members. Kim?
No comments or concerns.
Okay, Amanda?
Yeah, it's nice to see that this application, apart from this, request for the side yard setback, meets the other regulations of the zoning bylaw. And I'm in support of the building department's conditions. I don't have any other comments.
Chris?
No comments from me, thank you.
Oh,
No comments, I'm supportive, thank you.
okay, so I'll read the actual wording and, with the condition, and we'll take a vote to approve, oppose, or defer. So the matter of section 45 of the Planning Act as amended and new comprehensive zoning bylaw 023-2018 as amended, and an application for minor variance requesting relief to permit a reduced interior side yard setback of 1.08 meters instead of 3 meters to convert the existing garage into additional residential units required. And the one condition that the existing wall closest to the property line be fire rated and no openings are to be permitted on the wall closest to the property line. Okay, going around the table, Kim?
Approved.
Okay, Amanda? Chris?
Approved.
Paul?
Approved.
And I approve as well. And this is subject to a 20-day appeal
We
period.
have a second.
Okay, so, can you read the resolution? please?
Certainly. That report D 13-2025-001 entitled minor variance application D 13/HEMB received, and whereas variance requested would provide relief from section 4.2.c II of Township Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 2018-23 as amended, requesting permission to allow conversion of an existing garage into an additional residential unit with an interior side yard setback of 1.08 meters instead of 3 meters to comply with the minimum required yard in which the unit is situated, and whereas the minor variance application would maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan and the zoning bylaw and is desirable and appropriate for the development of the subject property. Therefore, planning staff recommends approval of the application with the following condition: that the existing wall closest to the property line be fire rated and no openings be permitted unless protected by an approved closure.
Okay, a mover. Amanda, seconded by Chris, all in favor? Good, thank you. So let's move on to the next one. And, next one is,
Thank you very much.
oh, sorry. Okay, next one is, William Sims, 4238 concession 7, Township Puslinch, part lot 29, concession 1, parts 1 to 6 on reference plan 61R 21945, Township Puslinch, County of Wellington, and matter of section 45L Planning Act and new comprehensive zoning bylaw 023-2018 as amended, an application for minor variance requesting relief to permit a reduced lot frontage of 68 meters instead of 120 meters as required. Okay, Lynn, would you please summarize this application, notification, submission requirements, allowing staff, agency, and public comments and recommendations?
Certainly. Notification of the application was done in accordance with the Planning Act, and the following comments were received. Public Works, Source Water, the Township's Building Department, the GRCA, Township's Bylaw Department, and the Fire Department had no concerns. The County of Wellington has advised that the subject lands are designated secondary ag and greenland system. Lands are located within the Paris Belt Marine Policy Area. Identifying features include significant woodlands, and planning staff note that the proposed variance is to satisfy condition of severance B 53-24 that was conditionally approved at the September 2024 Land Division Committee meeting. Condition 6 of the decision requires that the owner obtain zoning conformity, including but not limited to permission for reduced frontage for the proposed retained parcel. And overall, county planning staff do not have concerns with the proposed minor variance application.
Thank you. So, would you, the applicant, Rachel, please come forward, join the panelists and make the presentation.
Mr. Chairman, agent is joining online.
Okay, very good.
Oh, hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
So would you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Yep, Haley Keast from Van Harten Surveying at 2106 Gordon Street in Guelph.
We
And
have the drawing on the board, on the screen, if you can see it, great, and go ahead and speak to it.
yep, thank you. So like Lynn had noted, a rural residential severance was recently approved. We severed a 0.4 hectare parcel along Concession Road 1. That parcel is vacant and the zoning requirements are met for it. The retained parcel is known as 4238 Concession Road 7, where the existing dwelling will remain. The parcel is uniquely shaped, and there is frontage and access to the existing dwelling from Concession Road 7. And also there's frontage along Concession Road 1. Technically, Concession Road 1 is the technical lot frontage. When you look at the definition of lot frontage for a lot that has two frontages. So that's why we're requesting the reduced frontage for 68 meters versus 120 meters required. There is an existing field entrance along Concession Road 1 that will remain to provide access to the site. And otherwise, the zoning requirements are met. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, so we'll turn it over to the public. Lynn, are there any registrants requested to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, I did not receive any.
Okay, and any written comments?
No, I did not receive any.
Okay, so are there any members of the audience who would like to speak to this?
If it's okay with
Sure. Come on up and state your name and address for the record, and we'll give you 10 minutes to speak or ask questions. This may be.
first. My name's Tudor. Where am I looking at that thing, or are you guys?
No, you go ahead. We can hear it. It's,
Okay.
it's automatically there, and people on the screen can probably see.
Okay, my name's Tudor Riley. I live at 7234. So I'm the little spot there on the left of the 68. So we saw the posting, but this arrived yesterday after the 12 o'clock deadline. So meaning there was no way for us to actually respond in time. So that's why I'm here. So I'm just concerned that, if the idea is to allow people to actually respond to this, they couldn't actually respond to it on time because it literally arrived in our mail yesterday.
This is
This is the minor variance notice. So I know there was a sign out, and I don't know if that matters, but I just wanted to raise it because I was concerned that if we're the ones that live directly beside this, that means everyone else in our area also didn't get it until yesterday. So I don't know if it's a big deal. We're also a little concerned around, like concession 1 is turning into a urban area. Like there's just house after house after house being put in. So we're just a little concerned that this is a ongoing thing. And we were very concerned initially that there's going to be a house directly beside us because our house doesn't face the road, but faces left. So we'd be looking right out on a new build. And we've had multiple houses built within 150 meters of us in the last 3 years, because we had the one at 7244 built and then the one across the road built. And so we're just a little concerned that this is like a, we moved to the country to move to the country, not to move into a main road. So I don't know. Anyways, I just wanted to bring those up. I don't know if there's any concern. If you guys don't actually, if that's not a concern, like it doesn't matter if it arrived to people on time, then that's fine, but I wanted to bring it up because I think that's an issue that should be at least considered.
Certainly, we do not do the minor variance or the severance application decisions. It's done by the Land Division Committee at the county.
Right.
And certainly we can make that point clear that you didn't receive it in time. I don't think they can rescind the application. They only go, are you aware of that?
We met the legislation deadline, that is to send out notice 10 days prior to the meeting. And it's just a matter of notice being sent out to the owners surrounding the properties.
And this gentleman is one of the people within the catchment area, and they said he didn't receive it until yesterday. So I don't know when the would have been sent out.
Through the chair, yeah.
So I can tell you when it was sent January 30th. So I'm not suggesting you guys didn't send it on time, but if I'm here and my direct neighbor on the other side is in Mexico right now, so he certainly didn't get the mail, so he has no opportunity to respond to that, and he's also, he's the one, I'm sorry, I don't know his number and my glasses aren't. Can you zoom to go to the left of it? Yeah, he's 7230. So he certainly didn't get that. So I think people need to at least have the opportunity to, you know, say something.
And unfortunately, our committee here only deals with the minor variance application, which is associated with the
Size.
width of the frontage on the concession one. So I don't know what you want to do. I think if you got any concern with that, I think you got to address it through the county.
Okay, but this is from you guys, right? So the county had sent us something separate?
Is that from us?
Yeah, the public notice is for the minor variance.
Oh, for the minor variance.
Yes.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, but you got the one from the county then?
I think we did, yes. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So the decision was made by the county for the minor for the service application. This is to discuss the lot frontage. So if you have any specific concerns with the lot frontage, this is strictly the talking about the lot frontage. We're not dealing with the severance application.
Right.
That's a done deal already.
Okay, all right, then that's fine. I just wanted to bring it up that the timing is awkward, so I'll yield or whatever. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go around the table. Kim?
No comments.
Okay, Amanda?
No comments.
No comments, thank you.
Okay, then I don't know, when was it sent out?
The mail went out on October 30th. We're required under the regulations to do it at a minimum of 10 days prior to. So with Canada Post delays,
Yeah, so I think we're gonna have to look at something like that in the future. We don't get stuck like that. If Canada Post does something like that, we gotta do something to ensure either hand delivered or whatever the case may be.
well, this was after the strike. During the strike, we were hand delivering and we were also, or if we couldn't hand deliver, if there wasn't a mailbox, we would send them registered mail.
Okay, so I think there's a concern still there.
Yeah.
I think we should have gone back and just rechecked it. Okay, so if you can put that forward to the staff.
Yes.
So we don't have that issue arise again.
Sir,
Okay, so I'll read the actual application, and we'll go around the table and agree whether to approve, oppose, or defer. So application made by William Sims, 4238, concession 7, Township Woodlands, part lot 29, concession 1, part 1 to 6 on reference plan 61R 21945, Township Woodlands. Matter of section 45 Planning Act as amended, new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended, an application for minor variance requesting relief to permit a reduced lot frontage of 68 meters instead of 120 meters as required. So Kim?
Approved.
Okay, Amanda?
Approved.
Chris? I approve. Paul? Approve. And I also approve as well. Okay,
can we read the resolution?
yeah, go ahead and read the resolution.
That report D13-2025-002 entitled minor variance application D13 SIM be received And whereas the variance requested would provide relief from section 11.3, table 11.2 of the Township Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 2018-23 as amended, requesting permission for a reduction in minimum lot frontage to be 68 meters instead of 120 meters for the retained parcel as required. And whereas this application is required as a condition of consent application B53-24 that was conditionally approved on September 2024, the consent application would sever a 0.43 hectare vacant land for rural residential use within the secondary agricultural area, resulting in a frontage of 78 meters for the retained parcel. And whereas the minor variance application would maintain the general intent purpose of the official plan and the zoning bylaw and is desirable and appropriate for the development of the subject property. Therefore, planning staff consider the request to be minor and have no concerns with the application.
Okay, mover. Paul, second Tim, all in favor? Thank you. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Thank you. Okay, so this one's D13-NAD, Milosh Nadvornik, 504 Arkell Road, Township Woodlands, Plan 131, Concession 9, EOBL, Part Lot 5, Parts 1 and 2 on 61R-6567, Township Woodlands, County of Wellington. The matter of Section 45 of the Planning Act is amended and new comprehensive zoning bylaw 023-2018 as amended, and an application for minor variance requesting relief to permit a maximum lot coverage for accessory building and structures of 252 square meters instead of 200 meters as required. So Lynn, would you please summarize the application, notification, submission requirements, outline staff, agency, and public comments and recommendations?
Notice of the application was circulated in accordance with the Planning Act, and notice requirements for the application have been met, and the following comments were received. The Township's Public Works, Fire Department, and Bylaw Department had no comments. Also, the GRCA had no comments. The Township's Building Department said they have no concerns with the increased floor from a building code perspective on the condition that the proposed building is for personal residential use only. If the use was to change to a farm or commercial use, spatial separation would need to be reviewed and upgrades to cladding and fire resistant rating on the wall closest to the property line would be required. They also noted they are in receipt of the building permit application for this project, and technical comments will be made under that permit application. Source Water has advised that the notice they are issuing a notice under subsection 59(2)A of the Clean Water Act, and the notice was prepared in response to the minor variance application received for the property. One or more of the land uses proposed to be engaged in at the property have been designated as a restricted land use under section 59 of the Clean Water Act. And the application is either for a provision of the Planning Act prescribed under section 62 or Ontario Reg 287-07 of the Clean Water Act, or for a building permit under the Ontario Building Code. The application was reviewed in accordance with the Clean Water Act and the Grand River Source Protection Plan as amended. Based on the information submitted as part of the application, section 57 or section 58 of the Clean Water Act do not apply at this time to the activities outlined in the application for the property. The notice pertains to a minor variance application for increased building size submitted for 504 Arkell Road. Based on the application submitted documents, the activities proposed at the subject property would not be considered a significant drinking water threat. Therefore, neither section 57 nor 58 of the Clean Water Act apply. A section 59 notice to proceed will be provided, and the existing on-site septic system will continue to remain a significant drinking water threat and continue to be subject to the mandatory inspection program. The notice is only effective as it relates to the minor variance application. Any change in the information submitted under the application nullifies the notice unless otherwise permitted by the risk management official, and the notice is not valid for any subsequent approvals under the Planning Act or building permits under the Ontario Building Code for the property. And further, section 59 notices will be required for subsequent applications at the property, and a risk management plan may be required. In addition to the section 59 notice, Source Water recommends the following condition be included in the minor variance to address outstanding actions required from the mandatory septic inspection completed in 2023. And they're asking that the property owner provide the township's building department with a septic tank pump out receipt as required following the septic system inspection completed on July 7th, 2023. The County of Wellington has advised that the subject lines are designated prime ag in the county official plan, and has noted that the proposed variance is to facilitate the construction of an accessory building to the dwelling in the rear yard. The applicant has indicated that the use of the accessory building is for a shop and they require larger space for additional work and storage space, and the township should be satisfied the proposed building use meets all of the other requirements of the zoning bylaw. Overall, planning staff do not have concerns with the proposed minor variance application.
Okay, thank you. So, would the applicant please come forward and, have a seat, state your name and address.
Yes, so Milosh Dvorak at 504 Arco Road. Good evening.
Good evening. So go ahead, do your presentation.
Yeah, essentially, we built this existing barn about 8 years after we bought the property. And we thought that was going to be large enough for the work that we do on our own vehicles, or we do have an antique vehicle and that. We also have boats and that we like to do our own maintenance on. And it's proven out to be too small. So we decided that we'd like to get a much bigger shop with the, it's a steelway building from Elmer. And so it's all steel clad and similar to one of my neighbors as well. And rather than having the interior wooden support posts that interfere with the work that we do on these vehicles. So we wanted a clear span building that's all steel.
Okay. All right, so we'll turn over to the public. Lynn, are there any registrants who request to speak on this item?
No, Mr. Chair, I did not receive any.
Okay, and we have received any written comments?
No, Mr. Chair, I did not.
Okay, Nicole, would you please canvass the audience?
Certainly. If any attendees attending online wish to speak to this matter, you can use raise hand function on bottom of your screen. I see none.
Okay, let's go around the table. Kim, questions, comments? Lynn,
No, none for me.
Chris?
No questions, nothing.
Oh,
Just a quick question. Would there be any business or commercial use?
No, not at all.
So it's just for personal use?
Just personal use, yeah, storage and otherwise, yeah.
Thank you. I'm good.
okay, I do not have any questions as well. So I'll read the actual document. And there's a condition here as well. I'll read that out. And in the matter of section 45 of the Planning Act, is amended and new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended in an application for minor variance requesting relief to permit a maximum lot coverage for accessory buildings and structures of 252 square meters instead of 200 meters as required, with the condition that the property owner provide the township building department with a septic tank pump out receipt as required following the septic system inspection completed on July 7th, 2023. We're on the table. Kim?
Approved.
Chris? Nicole? And I approve it as well. And it's subject to a 20-day appeal period.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
That report D 13-2025-003 entitled minor variance application D 13/NAD be received. And whereas the variance requested was provide relief from section 4.4.2, table 4.1 of Township zoning bylaw 2018-023 as amended, requesting permission to allow maximum lot coverage for accessory buildings and structures of 252 square meters instead of 200 square meters as required. And whereas the minor variance application would maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan and the zoning bylaw and is desirable and appropriate for the development of the subject property. Therefore, that planning staff recommends approval of the application with the following conditions: that the property owner provide the township's building department with a septic tank pump out receipt as required following the septic system inspection complete on July 7th, 2023.
Okay, a mover. Jim, second. Linda, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to next item. Do we have any reports? No?
No, we do not.
New business? Anybody have any new business? No? Okay, go ahead with the adjournment resolution.
That the Committee of Adjustment hereby adjourns at 7:39 PM.
Okay, mover. Linda, second. Chris, all in favor? Thank you. So that concludes the Committee of Adjustment meeting, and we're going to be moving into the next meeting, which is the Planning and Development Advisory Committee meeting. So anybody wants to leave, leave.
we're not getting hurt. So when is my application deferred to?
Which one was that?
Strand?
Now, that's what we deferred right at the beginning of the meeting. We moved that up to the beginning and we discussed that and it's deferred until you satisfy the staff's requirement for survey.
Okay, so I talked to Andrew.
Yeah.
And he told me that the adjustments wouldn't be required until after the meetings. He said not to get the survey, not to do the
Well,
firewall.
that's not what we're doing here. We basically, there was a condition of staff saying defer until we get that, so that's what we did.
So will I get notification of what you're looking for?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, you'll get a copy of the decision.
Okay.
Probably tomorrow. I'll email it to you.
okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's get on with the next part of the agenda, okay, which is the Planning and Development Advisory Committee meeting for February the 11th. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Doing roll call, Kim McCarthy, Amanda Knight,
Present.
Chris Picard,
Present.
Paul Set,
Present.
and I, Council John Spruce, I'm present as well. And to my right, have Lynn Banks, the Secretary Treasurer of the committee, and to her right is Nichols Sopawala, our planner. So let's do the moment of reflection. Thank you. So confirmation of agenda, Lynn?
That the committee approves the February 11th, 2025 PDAC agenda is circulated and that the committee approves the addition to the agenda as follows. Consent item 6.1.2, questions received from the committee members seeking additional information and corresponding responses provided by staff regarding the February 11th, 2025 Planning and Development Advisory Committee agenda.
Okay, a mover. And a second, Kim, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, any disclosure of conflict of interest?
No.
None? Okay, I'd just like to reiterate that the meeting is video and audio recorded and all in-person electronic meetings are uploaded to municipality's YouTube page by registering to participate in the meeting by electronic means. You are consenting to have your likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. Okay, let's go through the agenda, Lynn. No delegations, no general interest. Notice of public meeting. I guess, can you just mention with respect to this particular item that we'll be discussing, a public meeting?
Yeah, the public meeting is scheduled for March 5th at 7 p.m. here in council chambers.
Okay.
And you need to approve the minutes.
Okay, and before getting to the reports, let's approve the minutes. Lynn?
That the Planning and Development Advisory Committee approves the minutes from the meeting held January 14th, 2025.
Okay, mover, Paul, second, Chris, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, zoning bylaw amendment applications. Okay. Lynn, would you please read the item?
So item 9.2.1 WDD Main Street zoning bylaw amendment application, file number D14-WDD 11 Main Street in the Township of Kuslich.
Okay, and so let's have the applicant come forward and present. Very good. Please state your name and address for the record.
Kaylee Robbins, Senior Partner at Weston Consulting, 201 Millway, Unit 19, Vaughan.
Faisal Hamadi, 499 Bryan Street.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, committee, for inviting us here tonight. We would like to provide a presentation on the zoning application in advance of the public meeting to occur in March. So just a bit of a timeline as to where we are today. So over the past couple of years, starting in March 2023, we submitted a first application for draft plan of subdivision and zoning bylaw amendment. And then essentially from then, we submitted a few updated materials in response to comments received from staff, peer reviewers, county, and conservation authority. This past January, we received the application, the notice of complete, which started the formal review process of that zoning application. The subdivision application is being reviewed by the County of Wellington. So we're here today presenting to you and hopefully answer any questions you may have on the application, and then we'll be proceeding to a statutory public meeting in March in which we'll be presenting a similar presentation to the public and also able to hopefully answer any questions they have and collect their feedback. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is the subject property. It's located in the southeast quadrant of Morriston, south of Badenoch, and east of Highway 6. It has a total area of approximately 23 hectares. It has a small frontage on Ox Street as well as on Main Street. It's generally naturalized areas with some vacant portions of the property. Next slide, please. So here's just the site context. Again, there's the woodland in the southeast portion of the property. You can see the Ox Street label there slightly just to the north off of Badenoch Street, and it is adjacent to the Morriston Ball Diamond there. So directly to the north, there's other detached dwellings, and then to the south is outside of the Morriston settlement area, agricultural lands as well as open space lands. Next slide, please. Thank you. So here is the proposed development. So the green represents the environmental protection lands, which we are conserving as is based on the ecological recommendation in the environmental impact study. We are providing a buffer to various features, which is captured there with that green area, and I can describe that later on. This actually accounts for about 74% of the entire property is naturalized lands that we are maintaining. The blue shading there is the stormwater management pond as conceptualized by the civil engineer, and the yellow represents all of the detached lots. So we are proposing 21 detached lots, with 20 of them being accessed from a new municipal street connecting to Ox Street. There is one lot to the west, which will have access from Main Street. The 21 lots range in size, with the minimum size being 0.19 hectares or about half an acre. And I believe there's one lot that is a bit larger at 0.3 hectares, but all generally within that 0.2 hectare, half an acre range. Next slide, please. And then, sorry, actually, just the purple is showing that new municipal street that I had mentioned, designed to town standards. Thank you. Sorry, yeah, thanks. So here's the County of Wellington official plan. The subject property is predominantly designated residential with greenlands and core greenlands. So we are maintaining generally that core greenlands and greenlands area representing those natural features on the property. And then the residential designation does permit a range of residential uses, singles, semis, towns, and buildings. However, that's not what we are seeking here. We're seeking detached dwellings in keeping with the character of Morriston and based on servicing constraints and the local area. Next slide, please. So this is the existing enforced zoning bylaw. A small portion of the site is zoned urban residential, with the majority of it zoned future development with an environmental protection overlay, and then the natural environment zone as well, which generally represents the wetlands, whereas the overlay represents the woodlands. So it is conceptualized as future development, which is, I suppose we're in the future now and conceptualizing development on this site. Next slide, please. Thank you. This is the proposed zoning bylaw. So we are proposing to rezone the residential portion of it to urban residential, which is quite similar to other properties in Morriston. We are seeking a special exception to recognize a reduced lot area, whereas the minimum is 0.4 hectares. We are seeking a minimum of 0.19 hectares, with most being approximately 0.2. We're also looking at permitting additional residential units and home-based businesses, which is in keeping with that urban residential zone in the zoning bylaw. We're not currently contemplating additional residential units on these sites. It's just more so in the future if homeowners are looking to have a basement suite or convert area in their garage. We're just providing those permissions. And then home-based businesses, daycares, dog grooming, we just want to maintain those uses that you typically see in low-density neighborhoods. And then we are maintaining the environmental protection overlay and rezoning a large portion of the site to natural heritage to maintain those ecological features and functions and protect those from any future uses. Next slide, please. So with the zoning bylaw amendment application, we've submitted various studies, cleaning and planning report, hydrogeological assessment, geotechnical, environmental impact, servicing, and traffic. I'll speak to a few of these momentarily. I'm not the expert who completed all of these, so hopefully if you have questions, I can answer, but I won't take any credit for being the expert on these various fields. So we have an ecologist on board who prepared an environmental impact study. Here identifies the actual features on the site. So the green is the refined woodland. As you can see, it does look slightly different from the mapping. It's based on the community and the species, is how they defined the woodland. The wetland there is in blue, and that has been staked with the Conservation Authority. With the wetland, we have a minimum of a 15-meter setback to the lots, 30 in most cases, a 30-meter setback. And then there is significant wildlife habitat as well within the woodland and wetland features, and that's shown with the yellow line work, and we provided a 10-meter buffer to those features and functions. So the environmental impact study does identify what is actually on the site, but then it also identifies potential impacts from the proposed development, and it does conclude that there will be no negative impact to these features or functions, and they will be protected through the rezoning of them to natural environment and environmental protection. Next slide, please. The proposed dwellings will be serviced with private servicing. As such, we prepared a hydrogeological assessment as well as a functional servicing report. The hydrogeological assessment included 5 boreholes as well as 3 test wells to understand groundwater quality and quantity. The quality did meet the Ontario water drinking standards. And with regards to quantity, there is sufficient quantity to meet residential peak demand for these units. A septic impact assessment was also completed within the hydrogeological assessment, which found that standard and advanced tertiary treatment septic systems can be used for these dwellings. The functional servicing report confirmed that they'd be moving forward, and they have conceptualized using advanced tertiary treatment systems for the septic systems on the dwellings, or for the dwellings. And then water will be private drilled drinking water wells, and stormwater management is provided via a dry pond for quantity and quality control. So quantity control up until the 100-year storm, and quality control through an oil grit separator prior to discharge. And then a traffic study was also prepared by a transportation engineer. They found that the proposed development will generate 20 a.m. peak hour trips and 25 p.m. peak hour trips, which does not have an impact on the surrounding road network. They also assessed 3 intersections, being Highway 6 and Badenoch and Ox Street, as well as Ox Street and Back Street, and found that within the current 5-year and 10-year horizon, they will be operating at satisfactory levels. Around the 10-year horizon, being 2034, there are some delays with regards to the intersections, but that's not impacted from the proposed development, rather the anticipated growth per year from now until then, applying a 2% growth rate, not from the development, but just from the general area and use of these streets. The traffic study also assessed parking and found that parking is sufficient and is being provided in accordance with the zoning bylaw. A sightline analysis was also included in the traffic study, which assessed sightline leaving Ox Street onto Badenoch Street, as there is a crest on Badenoch Street there, and found that the sightline does exceed the minimum requirements. And that was based on a passenger vehicle as well as snowplow, and that was working with the town to understand the vehicles that would be used for that. Thank you for allowing me to provide this presentation, and here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, so, committee members, please note that we're only going to provide comments to council. So we're not making any decisions today. What we did is provided sort of a template that you may have, each of you have, sort of things that we might want to comment on to council. So what I'd like to do is turn it over to each of you, ask the questions you would like to ask of the presenters, and then we can sort of provide comments that we want under these categories, or if you think there's other categories or there are some categories that are necessary, we can amend as necessary. Okay, Kim, so turn it over to you to ask the questions.
Off the top of my head, most of my questions would actually be around the development of the project in terms of during the construction phase. The Ox Street is very tiny. How is the impact of the construction and the duration of that going to be mitigated with respect to the residents that are actually living on that road, not to mention the amount of traffic that does go down that road during business hours or whatnot?
Yes, thanks for the question. That is something at this point is quite high level and not able to provide a clear and I guess, clear answer to that, only because we're in kind of the approval stage of it. Construction access would be from Ox Street, being the main access to the site. I anticipate we could investigate, we'd stage the construction obviously on the subject property and try to limit impact to the neighbors. Understanding Ox Street is not quite to the 20-meter width of the town standards. So we can look into that further and try to work with the construction manager.
Well, that's a valid question, so we can put that under here. Then just say impact of construction on residents and road system. Anything else for you? Okay, then.
I just confirmation that the draft plan of subdivision application is running concurrently with the zoning bylaw amendment application. And what's the intention with the parkland dedication? Are you looking at providing lands to the municipality or cash in lieu?
Good question. It would be cash in lieu, just being that the baseball diamond is right adjacent to the site, and then you have the natural area that would be eventually conveyed to the municipality, understanding that's not part of parkland, it is separate, but it would be cash in lieu.
And just confirmation for the chair, just questions at this point.
You can make comments, questions. You're good. Whatever you feel like. It's pretty straightforward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this is a great and comprehensive presentation. My comments to council at this point would just be to ensure that any outstanding comments or public concerns are addressed before council makes any decisions on this application.
Good. Okay, Chris. Well, over to you.
Good presentation. You anticipated a number of my questions. So, just a couple of things to try and make sure I understand this clearly. So the intent is these will be houses, I forgot the correct legal term, but freehold houses, right? You're going to buy, someone will buy the house. The road will be conveyed to the municipality when when they deem it acceptable, along with stormwater management plan, right?
Correct.
Okay, so it's not a condominium
No.
or some other sort of arrangement. Thank you. You mentioned the single-family homes put an allowance for additional dwelling units and home-based businesses. And then you mentioned the additional dwelling unit wouldn't be a separate building on the site because it's not big enough. Your illustration showed that quite clearly, that they'd have to build on the septic fields, and that's not going to happen. Can you talk a little more about how you see an additional dwelling unit being accommodated in the concept? And the reason I'm asking is you mentioned a little converted garage. That wipes out a parking spot, pushes parking back onto the road, where it's probably not going to be permitted, or overwhelms the driveway. And then, of course, it adds to parking. If you've added a unit, it adds probably one vehicle. Can you talk a little bit more about how you see accommodating additional dwelling units?
That's a good question. It's not part of the plan as it is to provide additional residential units in these houses. It's more so allowing that to happen in the future should homeowners wish to do that. And I guess their limitations would be based on the zoning bylaws, so parking, front yard, rear yard, lot coverage. So perhaps, and just say this is constructed in 5 years, and then in 20 years, they want an additional dwelling unit, perhaps they reconstructed their whole house, or I'm not sure what it may be. I think it's more so just a reaction to what we're seeing kind of in the province, especially in the Planning Act, I believe on serviced lands, this is much different because it's private services, you're allowed up to 3 units per detached lot. Any new unit on these properties would need to assess septic capabilities, and really lot coverage. So we know that would have to take place in the future. It's just providing those permissions. The way I would see it is a basement suite for this type of lot with private services.
And that's what would make the most
Yeah.
sense. So I'll come back to my comment in a moment, Mr. Chair, on that topic. Does that mean the house was built now with a separate basement entrance? Because you need a separate entrance typically for the additional dwelling unit.
The elevations of the house plans have not been prepared. It's more of a detailed design stage. Typically, you would do that once, the approval is granted as a architectural control guidelines through draft plan conditions. I have seen recently in subdivisions, it's almost an option for homeowners as part of, you have 2 or 3 model homes, maybe one of them includes a basement suite. So that's something we haven't quite gotten to yet, but I think, perhaps there's a walkout basement and that's an option for a unit, but yeah.
I'm too early with my question. That's okay. Thank you. Do you have a general sense of how large the houses will be? And really, I'm tying it back to your comment around respecting the character of that part of Morriston, which tends to be smaller, lower scale houses, not exclusively, but. So how big are these houses? This is in your mind, how big are these houses?
I will defer that to the owner representative here.
I don't see the homes being smaller homes. I think they'll be at 2,000 square feet, along those sizes.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice. Thank you. Just gonna check what you've already answered, Kaylee, sorry. This might be a question more for staff. I'll call it the retained greenlands are suggested being transferred to the municipality. It was an environmental protection overlay. Is that are we sure that's the most appropriate zoning to protect those greenlands into the future? And that's the question I'm asking, is I noticed that several terms got used in the material that we read, volumes of it, and you used a couple of terms up here again tonight. And what's the one, I guess I would suggest that we ask staff to consider what's the most appropriate one to protect the greenlands.
Well, we can certainly put that as one of our comments, under environmental considerations. something along the lines of what would be appropriate designation of the greenlands?
And a corresponding.
You're concerned about protecting it? for the
Yes, about
future?
protecting it. What's the most
Yeah,
appropriate
okay.
zoning protection looking into the next 100 years?
Okay,
Is it the overlay, or is it natural environment, or is it something else that I don't? I'm not the zoning expert.
how's that sound? Okay,
I've got that, yeah.
okay, good.
And then one of my last questions, just a couple. Do we know if there's any impact on the schools? Has the school board been consulted, or are they consulted as part of this process? Do we know?
That I don't know. Would you know?
Typically, they are circulated applications.
Okay.
I don't believe they provided comments through the zoning, so I would anticipate they'd be providing comments through the county's subdivision process.
Thank you. Just thinking, there could be a lot of bedrooms here, which is good. Keeps our schools alive. Back to the Greenland, trying to use the non-zoning term here. What happens if it's not conveyed to the municipality? The municipality says thanks, but no thanks.
That's a good question. We would work with the conservation authority to see if they would want it conveyed to them. I've been in an instance where neither wants it, oddly enough, trying to give land and, yeah, so I think that's something that we need to continue to speak to either the township or conservation authority on.
Okay, then, who's gonna loop back again, Mr. Chair? do you
Oh,
have comments?
absolutely, yeah, it's free flowing, discussion.
I think this is a positive add. My comments, I think, to council would be, if the zoning bylaw is going to countenance home-based businesses and additional dwelling units, then we really need to understand the parking implications. Because if we're saying, yeah, you could convert your garage or add a basement, which maybe takes away parking and adds parking, what does that do? And how does it affect the neighborhood? And create parking. We can create any more parking conflicts than we have to. But I think that there's just something there, and it might just be that the current zoning bylaw covers it.
Okay, so under infrastructure and services, Lynn, I guess we could put something under that section. How will the presence of ARUs affect parking provisions in the future? Or we should say parking provision in the future with ARU units should be considered.
Same with home businesses.
And home businesses.
Yeah. And this is thoughtfully laid out in my mind, but it could get, if you had a couple of home-based businesses where there was a bit of activity, it could get pretty crowded pretty fast. That covers it. Thank you.
Okay, oh.
Chris was pretty thorough there. Just one comment, and it was covered, actually. Somebody asked the question earlier today around just the lot size in that area. So my comment was initially my reaction was that it looked pretty dense to me. But then when we do the comparison to some of the similar streets, it seems to be in line. So that's just my comment, my observation. Other than that, it seems to be well planned and well situated. And there's a lot of thought put in here, and you know, I don't really have much more comment than that. Thank you.
Okay.
Is it possible I could add?
Yeah,
a comment?
no, go ahead, yeah, please
Sorry.
do, yeah, we can go around the table. If you
Sorry.
want, I'll save myself for last, and,
It's more just a comment as it relates to the additional dwelling units, I think. Does kind of saying that we can do ADUs or get it approved with that ahead of time, does that open this to an optic that someone can go ahead and build an ADU without going for permits or something else? Because it's, you know, are you going to build the basements with the proper window sizes that they can, you know, get out properly, and it's easy for someone to just go in and build out a basement? I'm just asking because there's so many legal units being built, how do you now then control?
Well, okay, we could put a comment in here that under ARUs, ensure that options are available to ensure legal conforming ARUs. In other words, you mentioned earlier that it may have an option, you may have one ARU. Well, okay, ARU would require these buildings, would require the separate exit type of thing.
Required building permit.
Yeah, and also would require ensuring that the septic tank's upgraded. So I think that's got to be upfront that if you're going to put an ARU unit in place, you got to have all this stuff lined up before you buy the house.
Just repeat, ensure options are available.
Well, ensure ARUs can be accommodated at the time of house purchase by ensuring appropriate appurtenances such as windows, entrances, septic system.
You can go back again, ensuring.
Appurtenances or facilities, a better way of putting it.
Okay. Such as windows.
Window sizes, entrances, second entrances, septic system, parking. Good for that?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Can I just add one piece?
Yeah, sure.
It's a comment. It might sound like the snotty Puslinch resident, but to me, a 2,000 square foot home, it's on the small side really for Puslinch when we're looking at sort of, and so I guess my comment really is, as a community, do we want that style of development with basement units and smaller homes relatively? Because we have this, I guess you could say, a standard in the township. Do we want to maintain that?
We really don't have a standard. Anybody can build any size home they want. We sort of have a 1 acre lot is sort of the.
Yeah, and that's,
lot.
yeah, and that
And I've got other residents who are saying, you do not want to see large homes. They'd rather see around
fair
2,000. So you've got both
Okay.
sides of,
all right, fair enough.
both sides of that.
So that was more subjective to me.
Yeah. Okay. All right, anything else anything else? Wait.
Thank you.
Okay, so, I've got several things here. Under land use and compliance, township development standards, are you using them? I know you mentioned the road system, but things like landscaping, that sort of thing?
Yeah, the town standards would have to be followed through the JAC plan conditions. So through JAC plan conditions, we would be providing landscaping plans, detailed landscape plans, which would essentially be just the boulevard. In this case, as we wouldn't be landscaping in the natural area, we would just maintain that as is. So yeah, any design standards would need to be followed through the detailed design process.
Okay, so, Lynn, perhaps you can just say, township development standards to be used during the detailed design. Well, okay, infrastructure, we commented on the ARUs. To me, I'm on this internet committee, and fiber internet, I think we should be pushing to provide, because right now we're having that as a standard across the entire township type of thing. I think that should be a given here as well. Okay, under infrastructure and services, I noticed there was a lot of township comments, township consultant comments regarding water quality, drainage system, and I think those comments have to be addressed. So we put that in there. Township consultant comments regarding water quality and drainage system to be addressed. Second exit from here. Has there been any consideration providing an alternative entrance into this facility?
Yeah, we had originally contemplated a through street from Ox Street to Main Street. And working with, I believe, both the township and the ecologist and MTO, that was not the desired approach. It cut right through, I believe, the wetlands there. And then would be bringing traffic too close to Highway 6 and Badenoch, whereas the Ox Street access brings them a bit further from Highway 6. So that is something we explored very early on to provide that through street for just a bit more convenience with emergency vehicles and whatnot. But we weren't able to explore that option further, just logistically it didn't work out. I believe we have not received any concerns from fire. Obviously, if there's comments from the county through the subdivision process, we can evaluate those as well, but the county had also seen the consideration of the Main Street access, and has seen it evolve to just the one access.
All right, are any of those homes going to be affordable? In other words, the provincial requirement for affordability?
At this time, they're just going to be market rate.
There's no legislation requiring for you to provide any affordability?
No.
Okay, transportation walkability. You mentioned that the back street and Badenoch, the sightlines are appropriate, but I seem to recall in the report that the sightlines aren't properly addressed for looking westbound. If you come to the intersection of Badenoch and you look westbound, you look west rather, there's a limitation there.
Yeah, the one limitation being the retaining wall on, I believe it's municipal land within the right of way there. That's the one recommendation from the traffic consultant, is to relocate that retaining wall.
So would that be part of your project?
That's something we can work with the township on through the draft plan conditions. I don't believe we have confirmation from them on the timing of that, if that's something we would need to undertake, or if it would be, say, a town upgrade to, help alleviate, I guess, concerns from this development and existing residents.
Okay, so I guess I'd like to see us put a comment there that the proper sightlines be provided at Badenoch and Ox. I know why we call it Ox, because Ox is half a block down that way. Okay, access to the wooded area to the south. Like, it depends who's gonna own it and maintain it, but certainly I know that the residents living in the area use that wooded area. But is there a way of providing access to that wooded area? Because right now you seem to have all the lots there sort of backing onto it. It seems to close it off. I would suggest having access to that area would be important.
If the lands were to be in public ownership, that would be something to arrange with them if they'd want it to become a trail system, or if they want it to just become a naturalized area with low disturbance from residents. We haven't received any comments in which it's to be utilized as public land, more so just preserved as is.
Okay, I don't know how the committee feels access to this. I think it'd be important in the future.
I think it ties back to my question around who owns it, who controls it.
Yeah.
But it would be good if, even if it was just a narrow path near the stormwater pond that went from the new street, it had the ability to go from a street to the green space, yes?
Yeah, okay, so can you put that under there as well? Under public space amenities,
Yep, access to the,
wooded area to the south, or recreation, hiking, or wherever you want to talk about, or walking the dog, or whatever you want to say. Okay, landscaping and sidewalks. I notice you don't have any plans yet for sidewalks and landscaping. That's going to come in the future. I know the public meeting is going to be on the 5th. Do you plan to have anything available for that, or is that
It
something?
would be very similar materials. I believe we have a cross section of the 20-meter right of way. So we can integrate that into the presentation. I believe the typical township cross section for 20 meters does include sidewalks, and we would be designing based on those standards.
How's the committee feel about sidewalks? Because right now, the other streets don't have any. I think we should be pushing for sidewalks.
There should be, in my mind, there should be a sidewalk, and I think that needs to tie to, I may push my limits a bit. Council might now even want to, are we going to allow on-street parking or not? And what does that mean to the road design?
Okay.
Maybe this is a bit of an ignorant question, but what's the benefit of having a sidewalk? It's just for additional walkability?
Yeah, it's for additional walkability. If you want somebody who, say, lives on Back Street or and wants to access that park area, type of thing, you don't have to worry about walking on the road, and they're properly maintained, the sidewalks. It's more pedestrian friendly than walking on the actual road. In other words, if we're gonna have a community that's walkable.
And just a question for staff, does the municipality maintain sidewalks, or is that the responsibility of the homeowner?
Typically, right now, the township maintains the existing sidewalks. I don't know what the case may be here, but that might be a comment if you want to talk about it here, and clarify sidewalk requirements and who will maintain. Okay, you cite in your documents that you have access to ballpark. And I was trying to look at the drawings to see how the ballpark will be accessible. Right now, if anybody wants access to ballpark, they gotta go down Main Street and go through, go along a back street, west, down Main Street, and then into the ballpark. I was wondering if there's a way of providing more ready access from this development into the ballpark.
I believe there is a chain link fence around that ballpark, because we do abut it, yeah, just along the road there.
Yeah,
The road would be assumed by the municipality. Ballpark is also municipal land, so I'm not sure if there's an arrangement where the fence could be replaced with a gate in some portion of that to provide convenient access. But that's something we could explore.
okay, certainly, perhaps there'll be a comment too, then, easy access from development to ballpark or ball diamond area, because that's got a sort of little parkette there too as well, as a ballpark, so the residents, they want to go a little more civilized place than the woods to have a picnic. Okay, economic and fiscal impact. I like to ensure that taxes that we're going to collect from these residential homes cover the increased staff and maintenance requirements associated with this development. So when can we put that in?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Ensure taxes cover increased staff and maintenance requirements. Community input and stakeholder engagement. Then we're gonna have a second meeting, public meeting.
At the moment, the only one is March 5th. I guess they'll determine if another meeting is required on an open house following the public meeting. That'll be up to council's decision.
Okay, I think it'd be important to have another meeting to get into things like lighting interference, getting into house perspective, landscaping, that sort of thing. You know, we did mention at council, and council agreed to have a second meeting. So
For as part of the zoning amendment, or when it gets to subdivision?
I think goes for subdivision, yeah. Now, the legislation requires only 120-meter radius, correct?
For notice.
Now, if I look, 120-meter radius, it doesn't encompass that much of the residents.
I can actually speak to that.
Go ahead.
I did a 500-meter radius because I knew the size of the property, it would not encompass a lot of the residents that are
Okay.
currently in the area, so we went a little bigger just based on comments we received in the past from other zoning amendments, that people weren't notified they were outside the radius, so we,
So that would encompass, Badnoch, encompass Ox. and-
yeah, it goes across the road allowance, the county road, and then also this side, it actually is quite a large area on all four sides of the property.
Okay, so let's put that in there. We support expanding the public notification area to 500 meters. Okay. Under other, my thought was, we call this what, Road A?
Street A, yeah.
Street A. So I was wondering if we can suggest that the township consider renaming the street with some historical reference that makes more sense than rather a street A.
Yeah, the street A is just a logo,
I
yeah.
realize that,
Okay.
yeah. I know we got some roads called funny names too. Okay, and last thing I had was consultant comments. I think we covered them already regarding water quality, drainage. Wait, under environmental, you're on top of fill, about 2 feet of fill across the area. I don't know if it's been tested for quality. In other words, it's suitable for a residential area. Do you people know that's been tested?
Yeah, we have a geotechnical investigation that's been completed. I don't have the findings of that with me, but I can always provide them to you.
Okay, so I think under environmental, let's just say ensure the existing fill meets quality for residential. No. Okay, I've spoken enough. Anybody else have anything else to add?
Just a quick,
Yeah.
one of us mentioned the school capacity part. I thought that was
Oh, that's a
gonna be
good
good
idea.
to note there, just because again, the size of the school is small, right? I mean, I could speak to that too. I think 30-40 kids going in there would make an impact.
Okay,
So just to cover that off.
yeah, okay, so, under,
Housing and density,
yeah, sure, that
Yeah.
sounds good. Yeah, that's a good place to put it.
so how would you like it worded?
School to be consulted, ensure space available for anticipated families living in this area. For children and families living in this area. How's that sound?
Yeah, I think, yeah, it would they'll get tied in with the school board, I guess, just, but that's, for now it captures it, yeah.
Hey, anybody else? Okay, Lynn, do you want to flash it on the board?
I can, just have a couple spelling corrections.
Oh, that's okay, don't worry about the spelling mistake, okay, we'll pick it up later.
Okay, so we can see that stuff on the screen.
Can you blow it up a bit?
My new computer. I just got it like last week. It's not the same.
better. Thank you. Big pity on our old eyes. Thank you.
That's good, yeah. Okay. So scan through that, just scroll it through, and then if I have any,
There's a typo.
don't worry about that. Don't worry about typos tonight. Okay, so under the wooded area, just say access to be provided to wooded area.
I'm sorry, where's that?
Right,
Access to be provided, okay.
Would that be like trails or something? I guess
Yeah, well,
I'm thinking if I bought a house
yeah,
there.
yeah, well, what I'm saying is, even if it's, if somebody has it, say that GRCA, or I guess it'll be the
Well, the council.
Health and Conservation has it, you want access to it, there is no
Yeah.
access to it through there. And, Chris made a good point, perhaps have something, right beside the, storm management, plan.
I wasn't sure about the insured taxes covering staff and maintenance. I thought there was more to that.
Well, no, that's basically,
That's
in other words, we got increased maintenance here, or we're maintaining the sidewalks, or we're maintaining the storm scepter, we're maintaining, other things.
The rest of us don't want to subsidize that.
No. And then under other, there's. I'll clean it up, make it look pretty.
Yeah, sure. Anybody else have any comments or questions? No? Okay, we're good.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, the council might consider whether they want to allow on-street parking, yes or no.
Oh, yes, okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, sorry.
Right, just get ahead of it now.
Yeah.
It's a consensus issue.
Okay, yeah, so under, transportation and walkability, put in there, if, what on-street parking is to be considered, then, it should be planned for now.
Is it going to be permitted, yes or no?
No, if on-street planning could be, on-street parking to be permitted, then, should be planning for adequate.
Sorry, I just can't read fast enough for this time.
So at the detailed design stage.
Oh, no, to put on the transportation and, walkability and say, if on-street parking is being considered, it should be planned for now.
Because it ties to the viability of home businesses and additional residential units. Just based on it, again, the scouts out, they are conceptual, that's what they're supposed to be, it's okay. But I'm just thinking, yeah, not a lot of room there, front yard for a
Do we
more
need,
than one car maybe.
Sure, go
do we
ahead.
need to address fire water or firefighting, or fire?
Well, the fire stuff I would think would be up to the fire department. Yeah, we're sort of looking at high level planning stuff, environmental, all the things that the common Joe would be looking at. But, we could make a comment if you wish, sure.
Just don't know,
It
because
was
there's,
covered in the material.
okay, as
several
long as it's
times, yeah.
covered, then we don't need to.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, anything else? No? Okay. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Staff reports none, correspondence none, new business, anybody have any new business? No? Okay, Lynn, adjournment.
The Planning and Development Advisory Committee hereby adjourn at 8:33 p.m.
Okay, mover. Amendment, second, Tim, all in favor? Great.